My name is Bernie Vasquez. I've been with Lumen for about 4 years, and I recently I recently have moved from direct side to indirect side. No, no. Actually, now I saw the light. Yes, I moved from the dark side. Correct. So um, it's been quite a ride. Um, we as Lumen, as you know, we let me see the first one.
You want to say first?
Yeah.
First, let me do my introduction.
Oh, sorry.
I'm John Colbert. I'm an SC. I've been with Lumen for 15 years. So I've been in the channel for most of that term. So I'm the solutions architect, and I won't go too much in depth, but we'll cover most of the subjects that we need to cover today. And Bernie will start off. Oh, sure. You can't hear me? All right. Good, good. Again, John Colbert, solutions engineer, 15 years with Lumen. And Bernie here, itself here. We're going to go over a presentation. I won't go too deep in anything at all, but I'll let Bernie start off the presentation, and we'll begin now.
Yeah, just to let you know a little bit of history about Lumen, we this company comes over 100 years old, and throughout the years have been acquisition after acquisition. Nowadays is wow, it's over 30 different companies that we have acquired through it. We are no longer just a connectivity company that used to provide internet or voice. We're much more than that. Um, what differentiates us, let's say, is we're a company that has a SLED team, wholesale, direct, indirect. Just by you knowing that that account is specific with certain group does not limit you to work the account. We have what we call a channel integration, um, which is awesome because both sides of the house can work on the same account and still give you the benefit as a sub-agent that you're bringing the deal. Um, Also, I have noticed on this side of the house, on the indirect channel, the tremendous support that we have. I have myself an indirect channel manager that is in charge of doing all the pre-sales quoting for us, for my team, which TCG has direct contact with them. Any inquiries you might have on any product you might have is directed to her. I'm copied on everything, and we take it from there. Um, we, my job here is just to be a facilitator in between you guys and your and the end user with our company. Um, Here's a little history of our company.
So this is where the growth pattern is with us at Lumen. As you can see, Bernie mentioned all the acquisitions that occurred, right? So for intents and purposes of this meeting, we're going to focus on Black Lotus, right? Because I'm going to talk about security. We're going to go far into that, right? And as you understand that, we are the deepest peered internet in the world, right? We have the number one connectivity, private connectivity everywhere, globally, everywhere. And we'll emphasize on that later and make sure. But what we're trying to do is get away from a little bit of the connectivity and go towards more of the edge, right? We're in the fourth ever industrial revolution, where it's data, right? First is steam, next is electricity, and the other one is a semiconductor. Now we're talking about data, right? How can you use data to improve your business, right? So that's our edge play, right? Where we can get closer to that data of applications. If you ever heard of Kubernetes and containers, or what applications are going to now, right? That could be spun up anywhere, close to the customer, and very viable resources, right? So, but we still do connectivity and network. We still do that best. That's where we started, because we're a telecommunication company. Now we're a telecommunications company. That's why Lumen is the name today. So, and in that, I spoke a lot about this, the AS already, but the most important thing that we have here is that we have security. And security, we also have private connectivity to the ecosystems, which are Microsoft, Microsoft Azure, ExpressRoute. We have Google, we have IBM, right? Direct connectivity to private connectivity, not always the internet. And that is good for a lot of things, but some of the things for criticalness business, you still want to be able to leverage the private platform, right? So what we call public. So these are the kind of things that we look for in managed services that we do have as well. with hyper DDoS, and we'll go over some of that later. But I like to just say, anyone have any questions on this as I go? Fine. So this is the breadth of our services. Like I said, we have a lot of services because we do a lot from the acquisitions that we have. So with that said, we're trying to, in the future, pare some of this thing down as becoming Lumen, right? Because we want more of the data, right? We want more of the applications. So that is what we mostly focused on, but we still procure one of the best networks. We still procure funding it as far as boosting up the network and taking it to other levels of which we should take it to, right? And we really pay attention to that. So you'll see where we have adaptive network services, we have cloud services, we have security services with DDoS, we'll talk about that, and we also, with premises, we do sd-wan, we do all of that, and we collaborations with voice. So just a little bit about voice and collaboration. Lumen was or level 3 was the first to pioneer SIP, so as they call it, and what they want to do with that is understand that we can do it anyway, agnostically throughout the whole world for voice. Any way you put it, we can do it. As they downgrading the T1s now, T1s are being grandfathered, TDM is being taken away, so you may have some customers on TDM today that's saying that, they disconnected my TDM. What can I do? Because my voice runs over it. Now, what's my alternative? So those are kind of things that we can help you with and understand that landscape for you and help out. So it's mostly with all these products that you see on the board, it's mostly consulting is what we come with, right? You want to sit down and talk. It's not a quote generated. It's not a product that we've thrown at you. It's a total solution from soup to nuts. If you ever heard of the OSI model, from physical layer all the way up to the application layer, 1 through 7, is where we going to take, where we are looking at to take the business to, right? And again, it was best said earlier, we ain't a best fit for everyone, but we can be a consulting party to come in and take a piece or two or collaborate with anyone. Like I heard DTT. I came in late, so that's the first one I heard. So we can do things like that as well. So partner with different stuff.
Could you go back a little bit? Sure. I want you to also focus on these 3 layers of products: the edge cloud, the connectivity, security, and this part on the collaboration. Because what we're going to talk next is something that is going to be important attached to this. Lumen on Net Advantages promotion that we have right now for buildings that are on net, we can deliver either an IP or IPVPN for 100 megs for $450. And we have our promotions running right now for SPIF for you guys. Even for a new logo, it has to be with a minimum MRC of $1,000. On the up to $10,000, you will get it one time as a SPIF. And then on the other slide, here are some promotional pricing that we have from DIA and IPVPN, all the way to 36 months, the Gigi for 800 on their locations.
And what's important on that is that DIA is the same price as IPVPN. In the future, you heard people say that we're going to go SD-WAN and we're going to leverage the low expensive cost of DIA, broadband circuits and everything like that. But that case with Lumen is no longer existing, right? You can still do IPVPN for the same price. So very important.
Yeah, and we're gonna send you these copies of the presentation so you can also have it. Next slide, please. So as I told you before, 1 month from 1,000 to 10,000 for new logo with a minimum 2 years of service. NCI or CIE. What that means, NCI, is that it's either we own the BizOrg or somebody else in one of our different segments of the company owns it. If they own it and we are CIE, we have a channel integration on it, you will also get the SPIF. On federal accounts, we cannot even touch it. So it has to be directed from SLED team. And we had a good experience last month with one of your sub-agents, Dan. They sold DIA. We didn't have SPIF for the DIA, but they sold the DDoS. And they're getting the SPIF from the DDoS in different locations. One of the locations had $1,000, the other one 500, but since we bundle it together into the same one, we were able to give him the 1,500. So those are the type of things. The other promotion that we have is if we concentrate on those three item lines that we talked about of our products: collaboration, connected security, edge computing, and hybrid cloud, you will get an additional on top of the being the new logo, the same, $1,000 minimum to 2-year contract, all the way to 10,000. And it could be either NCI, we own it, or we can channel integrate as well. Want to talk a little bit about this one?
Sure, this is what we call the DDoS as a boss promotion. What we hear out there is we have a lot of security breaches and stuff are happening with. We have, I think just last month, I had almost 10,000 customers have a breach with ransomware. So it's real. We see it every day. But and one of the things that you have to do after that is secure your network, right? You have to understand what DDoS does. It protects that public IP address and scrubs the bad actors that's coming across to get into the network, right? Understandable that, 56%, thank you, 56% of, let me get the volume right, we good? It's 50, it's a restaurant. No worries, no worries. But 56% of all breaches in companies are internal, right? So it happens from employees, right? Or people from employees that get phished and stuff like that, which means people walk in or talk to them, communicating somehow, in some form of communication to get pertinent information to get intrude their network. So we have a promotion that's called DDoS Like a Boss, which is actually giving you incentives like an MRC 1500, including on demand 1 gig of bandwidth for that, right? So a lot of people say DDoS is security, is a insurance policy, right? It is. But what we see now is that insurance policy is being invoked a lot more and more than people seem to realize. That if it doesn't happen to you now, with doing a lot of interfaces on the internet or a lot of business on the internet, what's going to happen is that you're going to be attacked, right? Are you ready, or are you educated enough to understand what security brings? So all well and good, your company is good, saving money, revenue, and looking at it from a CapEx perspective, right? From a network perspective. But when you look at it, how is that network protected, right? Coming in, also all the way in from the companies and training that you have to do for employees and stuff of that nature. So DDoS is just a way of promotion to let you know that we're going to lower our DDoS costs to get everyone involved in understanding what security is. Because we have different flavors of DDoS. This is our DDoS mitigation that we hold. This is one of our highest forms. We have an entry-level one, which is called NPS, Network Protect Services, which I'm going to tell you, frankly, 70% of my customers have that. Because if they get any type of alerts or we see any type of flagging on their circuits as far as we see a lot of volume of traffic, is this welcome from China, is this welcome from Brazil? We have to understand and be able to mitigate and take that traffic off. But if it is, and it happens in a large volume, we boost them up to DDoS without a cost. I'm not supposed to say that, but they still in our DDoS family of products, and that's called NPS. So when you talk to us or talk to me, we'll consult you into which one to get, right? Depending on your customers, because $1,500 and $1,200 on a gig circuit, you're looking at that like that may be expensive, and that's a lot of overhaul because that's cost more than the actual circuit itself that we showed you on a previous slide. So we understand that, but come to us and we'll right shape the opportunity for you. Again, as a custom platform, we can't always just say, here you go, cookie cutter, and just throw stuff at you. It is more sensitive than that and secure, right? So, and what I was talking about is, won't go into too much depth, but we see more, we stop more. That is basically what you want to understand out of this whole slide. We see more, we stop more. Very important. So what we see and what we get into with you is system security log monitoring. We talk about adaptive threat intelligence. So all of that has to be where we now, as a carrier, is going down an intrusion into someone's network and penetrating the network and understanding the vulnerabilities and reporting that back to them as well. So they get a full scope and a full report of what's happening, you know. And we service like 65% of all traffic we see across our internet because we deeply peered. And that Black Lotus lab works with every carrier from a high level perspective. So they are the ones that have the eyes. We have very high technicians involved in doing that. So that's why you say some of the DDoS and security is kind of high. It's because to pay those guys their salary and what they do for a day in and day out measure and sandboxing of new things that come across that they're not knowing of, or it is not recognized to be a threat as of yet. They have to be able to actually act on those things, or prepare to act on those things, or understand that there's no harm to let them through. So those are the same things we say. So security awareness training is what we do, and I'm just going to focus out on that because a lot of people say, how do I train my employees? That's a constant revolving door. We can help you do that. So these are the kind of things that we help you do. We have those tools for that. We have portals. Everybody has a GUI, a GUI, user GUI interface, right, for everyone to utilize and check. But what I found out is with my customers, I've been here for 15 years, so I have a lot of customers that no one checks their portal. Our portal is great, but no one checks it, no one uses it. So what happens is that we have APIs now, so which they can integrate their monitoring system with ours. So this is not a conversation for that, but we do have that as well. Just to let you know that everything looks like Christmassy, but Christmas only comes once a year, and most of the time people only look at it about less than that a year, unless it's a real threat. So these are the kind of things that we talk about with our professional services. So I talked about secure assessments. We're giving a sneak preview on that. So what we do is actually we go on cover and we see weaknesses, right? There is a limit to what we do for that. We have a technical scan. That's 1,000 external IPs, right? This is all public facing. You got your web application scanning, dark web scanning. We have, and I mentioned earlier, we have the assessments reports. They are very detailed, very high level, and really understanding what's happening. This is not really for the reach of a network administrator that you may have a good contact with, and you've been spending a lot of different formats to say, hey, I want connectivity. I need this. I'm adding this site. This is more for the CTO of the company, more of the upper VP management to understand exactly how all this internet traffic is being utilized, is being protected, and also how they can best scale it with what they have. That's right. So $5,000 is a one-time fee, but should be used if they consult us for more of the services that will help mitigate some of the holes that we see.
What are some things you guys see that comes out of these $5,000 assessments that people lost their jobs because there's like a breach in process that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. That question goes a little bit more deep, but I can tell you what they find. They find a lot of the simplest things that we have said. You know, they find passwords and usernames on sticky pads, right? They find different backup drives backing up people's music, right? And they find different vulnerabilities that has backdoors to their production applications, right? To get in there and disable it, right? And some of the people that installed it said, I had a backdoor just in case I couldn't get in from the network side. So the result, to answer the end of your question, I don't know what happened with them, but I would know if I was his boss, what would have happened to that person. So, you know, those are the kind of things that we run into, and trust me, it runs the gamut on what's going on, because these attackers these days are smart. They get in. That's all they do. They get in, and they constantly probe and poke, and they constantly do what they do best. Because I got a kid that went to MIT, and he could break into anything. Absolutely anything. I don't care how vulnerable it is, but he can leave a trail or he doesn't leave a trail. And it's scary sometimes. So don't want to get more involved in it, but it's not hard if you are focused and consistent at what you do. And as business leaders today, and as customers today, you want to make sure that they understand that, right? Because you will be, violated. But at the same token, you got to know how far is that violation go, right? So those are kind of things that you have to look at. And I have about 4 more slides, no. Well, thank you very much, and again, we're in a fourth industrial revolution, and we're here to do a lot more. We collaborate with everyone that's here and everyone that's been presenting today, and we are open to hear and sit down and engage a little bit higher and not just throw the speeds and feeds at people. Want to say anything?
Oh, basically, on the scale that we had, the different products and services, if something comes to mind, you need to educate your customer, your sub, or anything, let us know, because we have specialists in each one of those items that we can do lunch and learns. We can do a whole session with you on just that specific product that you're looking for. We're here to support you any way we can to get that sale and get you that spiff going. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.